Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. We got Chelsea news today. It is FA Cup final day. Lukaku drama. I'd have never ever believed that before another massive game, Lukaku can be involved in drama. But I'm here to defend Romelu Lukaku today before you think I'm just being harsh and throwing him under the bus again. That's not going to happen. Today's FA Cup final day. If you want to see the preview of Chelsea-Liverpool for the FA Cup final, I'll leave a link in the description. It was the previous video on the channel. Make sure you got bell notifications on so that when we win the FA Cup today, straight after that game, you guys can go ahead and watch my match review. It's called 6 Things We Learn. I do it after every single game, apart from one. I think it was a couple of weeks ago in the last couple seasons. But I want to focus a little bit here on Romelu Lukaku because I've definitely given Lukaku an incredibly hard time this season. And I can vindicate and justify all of that pretty much throughout the entirety of the season. However, at this moment, when Chelsea are fighting for what would be probably the most, well, you can argue that the Club World Cup is the most prestigious trophy out of them all, but the FA Cup, when the Super Cup and Club World Cup aren't available, the FA Cup is considered one of the biggest competitions that you can win if you're an English footballing club. So the fact that Romelu Lukaku has been in very good form in the last 2 games. He looks as though he has not just turned a corner, but he looks like the striker that we saw at the Emirates when he dominated Arsenal in the first couple of weeks of the season. He looks like the kind of Lukaku that was absolutely crushing it at Inter Milan, which made Chelsea go out and re-sign a player that we once had sold and saw become one of Europe's elite marksmen. He's back to that level again. And unfortunately for Lukaku, this season, across pretty much the majority of Chelsea fan base's opinion, plus Tuchel as well, because if Tuchel isn't picking a £97 million striker, that isn't because he's entirely happy with him. So overall, Lukaku's Chelsea's top scorer this season in all competitions, which isn't really a surprise because he's the striker, but also, as much as this season has not been the greatest or the best, Chelsea have been able to rely on wing-backs, defenders, midfielders, everyone to score goals. And Romelu Lukaku's tally, it might not be the most impressive for the kind of money we spent on him or what we anticipated it to be, but he is the top scorer and he has been through a bit of a tough time. And I say a bit of a tough time because it is self-inflicted. The interview that he didn't need to do it. And he also is old enough and smart enough as a player to realise that in football, a lot of what you say can be misconstrued. It can be taken in whatever context the stakeholder involved, and here I'm talking about the club, the teammates, the manager, us as fans. It can be taken however we want it to. So Romelu Lukaku, in a position he's in, has to understand that his kind of influence, with his kind of power at Chelsea Football Club as our number 9, every word he says can be flipped. Every decision for any interview he makes can be judged in any way that people want it to do. And then as a result of that, there is a fallout, there is a backlash, particularly with players on the field. If people aren't passing to him, it could simply have been a case of people were a bit annoyed at Lukaku that maybe as a result of doing this interview, you got a lot of Chelsea boys in the squad who may have just been like, I don't want to see this, this guy's on big ass money, I'm working my way up to these kind of wages, yet he can speak like this about Chelsea Football Club and here I am, so why would I support this guy? I'm not saying that's what happened, but it could have done. Now the way that this is relevant in the news case today, Romelu Lukaku's agent was speaking again about this prospective move back to Italy with AC Milan, Inter Milan. He even quoted the names of these clubs, which Romelu Lukaku has then reacted to this with an Instagram story post basically saying, whatever someone else has said, speaking on my behalf, didn't come from my mouth. So therefore, as a result of that, he wishes everybody to actually look at what he has tried to do and what he's been doing recently, which is knuckle down, focus on the team. Yes, he wasn't being picked, but we didn't continue to see public outcries from Lukaku. We didn't continue to see Lukaku making potentially stupid decisions so that people in the eyes of Chelsea fans, his teammates, managers, everybody involved, looked at him and thought, okay, he made a mistake. And when he's given the opportunity, he's trying to rectify it. And in recent weeks, he has been Chelsea's best player. So with that being said, I think it's within everybody's interest to forgive and forget. As long as he's being picked in a Chelsea shirt, I want Romelu Lukaku to succeed. And I think what's very important here about this is that his agent makes these comments and Lukaku is actually standing up for himself, because I do believe that Romelu Lukaku would like to rectify the issue that has kind of led to his first season back at his so-called dream club being tarnished, being just tampered with in a way that he would never have wished for it to go. He was an absolute monster at Inter Milan last season, and it's only really been the last couple of games where we have seen that kind of style from him again, where he bullies defenders. He's not afraid to let the ball roll over his shoulder, take it on his right foot like he did against Wolves. The movement that we saw in the game against Leeds, yeah, Leeds maybe not the best team in the Premier League, but any striker has to do the right things to get into the right position. So now it's not really a surprise because Lukaku's movement has become more dynamic. He's making different kinds of runs that are not so predictable, whether it's one or two centre-backs actually trying to deal with him. So Lukaku, as a result of what his agent has said, could once again be seen in the eyes of Tuchel, teammates, us as fans, could have been seen to once again just be screwing it up for himself, which is a real shame because his performances recently have been the reason why, despite Chelsea are stumbling over the line, we're still just about over that line now. And Romelu Lukaku's performances, especially in the last 2 games, have been a huge reason for that. And if you saw my preview yesterday, if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But disclaimer, I picked Romelu Lukaku for this game because I am fully on board with when you're the underdogs in a cup final. Yeah, there are some players who are cup final players, but just because Kai Havertz has scored in 2 finals, his form recently has been poor. Romelu Lukaku has played in big games. He's played for big clubs and he is still in the prime years of his career. So with his current form, the way that he's played against Liverpool before, there's no doubt for me today that Lukaku is the man to start and lead the line. And I do think, deep down, if Chelsea are going to win this game today, we're going to win it through Romelu Lukaku. So as much as I've, said bad things, I guess you could say, I've said that probably won't ever play for Chelsea again, or I think I said I don't want him to play for Chelsea again, because at first, I didn't think that any kind of apology was really meant. I didn't feel like he actually wanted to rectify the situation, but to publicly call out your agent, to basically say, no, these aren't my words, nobody speaks for me. That is the kind of bullish, boisterous attitude that off the field, Lukaku needs to adopt to win back the full trust of everybody at Chelsea. But his performances on the field are also absolutely in line with that too. And that is where, as football fans, we can adjust and change the way we view and see players. Because at the end of the day, anybody wearing this badge on their shirt, this is an old shirt, of course, but still, anybody wearing this badge absolutely deserves the backing of Chelsea Football Club. You look at Marcus Alonso throughout his career. There's been moments where it's been a disaster. There's been moments where he's sworn at Tuchel. There's been moments where he goes and sits on the bus under Frank Lampard. Yet still, he turns up and scores big goals. And whenever he does, we celebrate. So, yeah, I wanted to make this video today on Cup Final Day, focused on Lukaku, to defend him a little bit, because I still think that he could have a big part to play. If he continues with the current attitude we're seeing, with this kind of like, got steam coming out of his ears in a way, hasn't he? If he continues along this kind of level, then I still think that that world-class elite striker that Chelsea bought last summer can seriously come good at our club. We've got Armando Broja to come back, who you guys remind me in the comments that maybe I don't speak about him enough when we talk about incomings, players coming back from loans and next season's squad, etc. So Broja's coming back too. He can absolutely learn a lot from Lukaku, and I think Romelu Lukaku's Chelsea return could be defined by what happens in this game today. If Lukaku has a man-of-the-match performance or scores a goal, scores a winner, and Chelsea lift the trophy, then a lot of those things that we have struggled to forget, struggled to forgive, wondered, is he the guy? Is he the guy? That could all be rectified today if Chelsea lift the FA Cup at Wembley. But let me know what you think about this whole Lukaku thing. It's not that big of a deal, but I did want to make an extra video on it today just to simply address it from the point of, I'm very excited about Lukaku after what I've seen in the last 2 games, and it's the nature and the psychology behind this post that he put up, defending himself when his agent is speaking on his behalf or for him. I think this is good. I think this is the kind of Lukaku Chelsea want and need. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on Romelu Lukaku in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video today. I will see you after the game for 6 things we learned. Come on, you Blues.